3 weeks old. She was 3 weeks old, and the dog would not stop watching her. Not the casual watching of a curious animal who has never seen something this small before. Something else. The kind of stillness that has weight behind it. Bo was a 6-year-old golden retriever who had never once caused trouble, gentle to the point of embarrassing in the dog park, the kind of dog strangers felt comfortable crouching beside, without asking, the kind who adjusted his body around small children rather than requiring them to adjust around him. Thomas and Serena Aldridge had adopted him 4 years before Ivy arrived, and Bo had been the easiest part of every single day since. Then Ivy came home and Bo became someone they did not recognize. Not aggressive, never that, but relentless. From the moment they brought her through the door in that infant carrier, Bo attached to her in a way that felt like more than curiosity. He would lie beside the bassinet for hours, his chin resting on the padded edge, his eyes tracking the slow rise and fall of her chest. When Serena was breastfeeding, Bo would position himself pressed against her leg, nose tilted toward the baby, not moving, not asking for anything, just present in a way that started to feel less like affection and more like vigilance. The third night, Thomas woke to find Bo not in his usual spot on the bedroom rug, but standing at the bassinet, his front paws on the floor, neck extended, nose hovering 2 inches above Ivy's face. He was inhaling, slow and deliberate, in the specific way dogs process information with their entire olfactory system engaged. Thomas pulled him back by the collar. Bo walked directly back to the bassinet and resumed the position. Thomas moved into the hallway and closed the door. Bo scratched until 4 a.m. By the second week, Serena was worried in a way she had never expected to be about a dog. She had trusted completely. She messaged her mother. Her mother said the dog was jealous. Her best friend, who had 2 children and a Labrador, said it would pass once the newborn scent faded. Their neighbor, a retired vet tech named Barbara, came over on Thursday afternoon and stood watching Bo for 7 minutes. Without speaking then, she said, "That's not jealousy. I don't know what that is." But that isn't jealousy. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. At 3 weeks and 2 days, Ivy had her newborn cardiology follow-up. A routine appointment. She had been flagged at birth for a murmur that the attending neonatologist described as likely to resolve on its own. Most do. Thomas took her while Serena slept. Bo pressed against the front door, as they left in a way that Thomas later described as the behavior of a dog who knows something is leaving that should not leave. The cardiologist at the clinic was Dr. Rosario Venegas, pediatric cardiology, 11 years. She completed the echocardiogram in 22 minutes. She was quiet for the last 4 of them. Then she called in her colleague. Ivy had a ventricular septal defect that had not closed as anticipated. It was moderate in size. It was causing the left side of her heart to work harder than it should, which was producing subtle changes in her oxygenation during certain states, particularly during deep sleep, when respiratory rates slowed and cardiac demand shifted. These changes were not large enough to trigger visible distress. They were not large enough for a standard oxygen monitor to alarm. They were changes in breath chemistry, compounds produced by a heart working under elevated strain, detectable at concentrations too small for a human to register. Dr. Venegas told them about the monitoring protocol, the follow-up schedule, the likelihood that it would require intervention. Then she paused, and Thomas asked the question that had been sitting in his chest for 3 weeks. He described Bo. He described the bassinet. He described the nose 2 inches from the baby's face. At 3 a.m., Dr. Venegas was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "There is documented research on dogs detecting cardiac irregularities through breath. Not in infants specifically, but the mechanism is the same. Volatile organic compounds associated with cardiac strain. I can't tell you your dog knew. I can tell you that whatever he was sensing, he was right. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until everything suddenly made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. They drove home with an appointment card and a monitoring plan and the specific feeling of having misread something important for 3 weeks. Thomas called Serena from the parking lot and told her. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "We almost moved him to the garage." He said, "I know. Every guardian deserves to be recognized." even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Bo was on the rug beside the bassinet when they got home. Thomas let him stay. That night, for the first time since they had brought Ivy through the door, Thomas did not move him. He sat on the floor against the wall and watched Bo watch his daughter. The dog's nose hovered above her face in the dark, processing what Thomas could not see, reading what no monitor in the house had been built to read. Ivy is 7 months old now. She had her procedure at 4 months. The cardiologist said she is progressing exactly as hoped. Bo still sleeps beside her every night, not because anyone put him there, because that is where he chose to be from the day she came home. And Thomas no longer believes that was an accident. The next story involves a Doberman who kept blocking a toddler from the kitchen and what the gas company found inside the wall.